Awesome. Okay. We will get started today. Hello, everybody. I'm Taylor. I think this is our third session together. And today we're going to talk about grocery shopping and meal prep. So we're going to do a quick review of everything that we've gone over. So no worries if you've missed some of the last sessions, but we'll do a quick review and kind of talk about how we can put all of this together. The last couple of sessions have been pretty content heavy, where this one is really just about action taking. And personally for me, I think this is one of the most important things you can start to implement into your routine. And we'll kind of talk about why. So excited to go over this today. So we're going to quickly review the 3 key macronutrients that we talked about from the first session, nutrients that we want to try to include in a meal plan. We want to learn how to kind of meal prep and what that means and how can you efficiently grocery shop. And then if there's time at the very end and there's not a lot of questions and we breeze through this, I did put in some content on label reading to get started with that because it is pretty involved with grocery shopping, but we can always save this for next session as well. We'll just kind of see how things go, how people are feeling too. I don't know if you guys are really busy and have a lot of work to get done or want to get out of work, but we'll go from there. Okay, so the main macronutrients that we have been discussing were the carbs, the protein, and the fat. And we've been talking about how we need a variety of them in our diet. They're all really important and they all play a very different role. So carbs are broken down into glucose. They're our body's main fuel source. Our brain, heart, everything needs carbohydrates. So we want to try to include those. Ideally whole grains versus refined carbohydrates. It's going to support you during exercise. And again, looking for the least processed form. This is going to provide you more nutrients. Oops, sorry. Just got an email. It's going to provide you more nutrients. It's going to provide you more fiber. It's going to help keep you fuller longer, help stabilize blood sugar, which is so good for hormone production and so much more. Protein is providing structure to your body, so muscles need protein, but they also are included in like enzymes that help you break down and digest your food. It helps you transport nutrients, so we need protein. And then fat is amazing, stores energy. Fat is actually involved in making hormones. And I haven't really talked to you guys about fat's role in making for sure we absorb nutrients. So like I feel like a lot of people know what vitamin D is, especially in the light of like COVID. During the winter time, a lot of people like to take vitamin D, but if we don't have enough fat in our diet, we actually can't absorb vitamin D. So another reason why fat's good for you and not something to be scared of. And then unsaturated fats are going to be better than those saturated fats. So those saturated fats were things like really fatty meats, desserts, cookies, fried foods. Unsaturated fats are going to be things like avocados, nuts, olive oil, fish, things of that sort. And then as we wrapped up last session, we jotted down a couple of goals that were like totally optional. Maybe you're still working on making changes from the very first session, totally fine. If you are at this third session and you feel like we haven't made any changes at all, really encourage you to take some time to figure out, what's kind of getting in your way. And I think after we talk about meal planning and stuff like that, it's going to be really easy or more achievable to kind of align these goals with your lifestyle. Building a perfect plate with the carb, protein, and fat, eating that balanced breakfast. We talked about water. We've talked about, trying to get about 25 grams of fiber a day, which is going to be found in whole grains, fruits, vegetables. Limiting those refined carbohydrates to just about 1 time a day at most, and then having a serving of fruit and veggies at meals. And going to review this again, because this is going to be really important as you start to create your meal plan. So when you start to lay things out, you want to try to keep this in the back of your mind. Am I getting enough veggies? So we want to try to have 2 to 3 cups of veggies a day. Am I getting enough fruit? 2 to 3 cups of fruit per day. Dairy is one that a lot of people need to consciously add in. So it's going to be in milk, cheese, yogurt, fortified foods, dark leafy greens. So when I say dairy, it's to ensure we're getting enough calcium. Fiber, fiber is going to easily be integrated into your diet if you're choosing veggies, if you're choosing fruit, if you're choosing whole grains. We want to try to incorporate a protein source at every single meal, carbohydrate source at meals, again, whole grains, and then staying hydrated. So reviewing our plate, about a third protein, a third veggies, a third whole grains, and of course, some type of serving of fat. So for example, this meal was very basic and very broken down. We had the chicken, we had the quinoa, and we had a salad. And though that salad doesn't look very appetizing, you guys understand. And then, we can incorporate our fat by adding some olive oil, how we cooked our chicken, some butter, olive oil to the quinoa, some salad dressing to the vegetables. And then we talked about breakfast. Ideally, it's pretty hard to get vegetables in at breakfast. So if you like to do that, great. If not, we really try to want to have some type of protein, some type of carbohydrate, some type of fat, at least 2 of the 3. So some protein examples were like eggs, sausage, protein powder, more protein cereal. So if you are having cereal and milk every morning, how can you add some protein to that? It could be choosing actual cow's milk that has protein. It could be, a side of eggs. It could be a protein shake, a side of yogurt. Starting to think about that. Carbohydrates, different sources for breakfast are whole grain toast, oatmeal, whole grain cereal. Fat, we have different nut butters, avocado oil, milk, and yogurt. Milk and yogurt are awesome because they have fat and they have some protein. And then breakfast we talked about recently was a great opportunity to add in fruit and maybe like some dairy if you find that's hard to get throughout the day. So in this picture, different breakfast ideas for you that contain a lot of different nutrients. So we had, the cereal with milk, scrambled eggs with veggies, a protein smoothie, whole grain bread with eggs or nut butter, fruit, overnight oats, which is like oats, Greek yogurt, milk, protein powder, or like a parfait. And a lot of people like to keep the same breakfast every single day. And I realize, making things like scrambled eggs and stuff like that during the week is not super realistic if you have a pretty busy morning. So it's okay to keep it simple. It's okay to change it up on the weekends. And as we talk about meal planning, we'll figure out what works for your schedule. And then snacks, a quick review. We want to really try to include some type of protein with a fat and or a carbohydrate. This is going to help keep us full. And again, really good areas if we're low on dairies, veggies, fruit. This is another great area. We can try to sneak those foods in. And then with that protein, we're trying to get at least 7 to 10 grams per snack. And I would really think about this when looking at like protein bars or like granola bars, because you'll start to find a lot of things might be labeled as like protein bar and it only has like 3 grams of protein, or granola bars usually are just kind of like a carbohydrate, but you don't have any protein. So that's why we don't stay full for long term. And we can go into snacks too a little bit more deeper in some of the next sessions. So now we're finally going to talk about meal prep. And this is, I feel like, your stereotypical meal prep picture that looks overwhelming. If you've done this before, if you enjoy doing this, all power to you. But I'm going to teach you a way where you don't have to spend your entire Sunday to make this beautiful photo. So again, if this is like your jazz and you like to do this, amazing. But we're going to take meal prep into way more simple terms, so it's not overwhelming and it's a lot more bite-sized. So grocery shopping and meal prep is key to everything. And the most important reason why it is so important is because it provides you a basis of a plan. You can't expect to meet your goals or have optimum health, whatever your goals are, muscle gain, weight loss, be healthy, if you don't have some type of plan. And I think a lot of us, struggle with feeling a little bit down on ourselves for not eating better, for not doing X, Y, and Z. But a lot of the times, we didn't have any plan to get started with. And so we got to give ourselves a lot of grace for that. So this is going to truly set you up for success. It's really going to save you time and money in a variety of different ways. So it's going to save you money because every week you're going to learn what you need to buy. And so no longer are you going to the grocery store buying random things, letting things waste in your fridge. And you have an exact list for when you go to the grocery store. So whether you do the grocery shopping, something comes up and you need someone to do it for you, it's really easy to like hand out the list and you have exactly what you need. It allows you to diversify your diet. So we're going to see how to plan, and you can start to get creative and be like, okay, I now that I have a bird's eye view of what my week looks like, I want to try this food in here. Or maybe you have food in your house that you bought a long time ago that you've been like wanting to try, wanting to make, but you just like forget about it. You can sneak that in there. It helps you commit to your health during busy seasons in life. And this is another reason why planning what you eat is so important. If you set up your whole week with what to expect, knowing things can change. Like when you get home from work, you don't even have to think about what you're making for dinner because you already know, you have it written down. And if you're super busy, some weeks you can plan to have leftovers. You can make things as simple or as basic as you would like. Also, let's say you go home from work, you have food, but you don't necessarily know what you're going to make. And so you decide last minute, oh, let's just go out because it will be faster. So you're spending more money. You're probably spending more time out to eat than you would have if you just had stuff at home. So it really is beneficial. Kind of got to the point where it saves you money on fast food, takeout, etc. And it limits food waste. And I kind of alluded to that already too. So there's lots and lots of good benefits, probably more benefits I didn't mention, but some of the benefits that I've seen in my own life and people that I work with too who start to implement this. Okay, so I have 3 main steps, and then we're going to kind of go over the sheet of an example of what it looks like, but you guys will have this sheet sent to you, so you're more than welcome to do with it whatever you want. But basically, the most important step is we're going to plan out all the meals for the week. And so we're going to write down our breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And if you know that you have dinner plans one night, write it down so you don't have to buy food and plan for it. If you know you're getting pizza at work for, what is today, Wednesday? A Wednesday, you already have your lunch plans, unless, you can consciously choose, do I want to eat the pizza? Do I not? If you choose to eat the pizza, great. Then it's like you can start to build on top of that and make for sure you have dinner that's super like nutriently dense to fuel your body. Plan to eat leftovers, like write those down, especially in areas where you're not going to want to cook. Maybe you're busy. Plan when you're going to have your leftovers so you can buy enough food to actually have enough leftovers. And then, once you have everything written down, this is the opportunity where you have a bird's eye view of everything and you can start to figure out, okay, going through a checklist, do I have protein at all my meals? Do I have a variety of vegetables in my diet? Is there anything I want to try new? Do I have fruit? Do I have dairy? Some of those things that we just talked about, you're able to kind of squeeze stuff in, take stuff out. And what I really like about writing everything down is, let's say it's a really busy week with work. You have maybe a couple events during lunch where food's going to be catered in, and then a couple nights after work, maybe you have a friend's birthday party dinner, something for the kiddos, so many things. And so it turns out that this is a really crazy week for you, and you're eating out 5 to 6 times. And that allows you to consciously think about, okay, this is a different week for me, knowing that I'm going to be eating out so much. I want to empower myself that I'm going to eat healthier 4 out of the 6 times, knowing I'm going to get plenty of opportunities to eat out, but I want to be able to go into the following week kind of feeling good, feeling energetic, and not feeling run down and exhausted by my busy week. So it really allows you to make empowering choices for yourself that align with your goals, whether that's building muscle, better energy, overall health, weight loss. So I think that's really great. So we're going to write everything down. We're going to analyze it. And then on our next page, we'll write down all of our ingredients. And then on our page after that, we'll rearrange it in a way where it's lined up. So when you go to the grocery store, all the items are kind of close together, and then you're done. And if you're lazy like me, sometimes I do online grocery pickups. So once I have my plan picked out, I just drop everything in online and go pick it up. So this is the PDF that you guys are going to receive. And this is the first page. So take this, use it how it is fit, or let's say you want to get a notebook, you want to put it in your phone. I've eventually started using like my notes tab in my computer. But basically, I just did 2 days of an example for time and stuff. But for Monday, I pretended that I was planning for actually 2 people. So this can be totally useful if you live alone, if you have a family, if you live with someone else. You can plan out how much food you need. So I said we're both going to eat overnight oats for breakfast. For lunch, person one was having a turkey sandwich, side of carrots, Greek yogurt, and chips. And person number two actually had a work lunch that they were going to have. So I didn't plan anything for that. And then dinner, we're going to grill chicken, have Brussels sprouts with a side of wild rice. And then going into Tuesday, we're going to do the same thing and have overnight oats. I'm just going to plan that we can both take our dinner from the night before for lunch. So I'm going to make for sure I buy enough dinner. And then for dinner on Tuesday night, we're going to have taco salads. And then I would kind of just do that same process through everything. And then normally I just like to plan one weekend meal. You can definitely plan 2, but often what I find, if you are busy, life is going to come up. You might end up going out to eat because you just don't want to cook at all. Something might come up where you just don't have what you plan to make. But then the weekend comes and you have a meal ready for you to make in your fridge. So it's really easy to kind of bounce back onto your normal eating habits too. And then I plan just a couple random snacks I wanted to have on hand for the week. So after I've kind of done all of this, and even when you're planning, you can be like, okay, like what's in my freezer? What type of meats do I want to have this week? Or what do I have on hand that I want to use up? And then I like to incorporate it into this plan as well. And then, whoops. So then right here, I wrote down all of the ingredients. And so the ones in red, I just pretended that I don't have on hand, and the ones in black, I do have on hand. So I know for my overnight oats for breakfast, I need to buy milk and I need to buy frozen fruit. For lunch, a lot of bread, so I need to buy bread, I need to buy lunch meat. I found that I have cheese already on hand. I already have chips on hand, but I need to buy some Greek yogurt and carrots. And then for dinner, I need to buy some chicken breasts, and I'm gonna buy 4 because I've discovered I'm gonna have that for lunch the next day. Some Brussels sprouts and wild rice, and I have wild rice at home. Same thing for breakfast the next day. Technically, I'm going to be buying milk and frozen fruit, so I don't need to buy any additional ingredients for Tuesday. Lunch, I have leftovers, and then for dinner, I'm realizing I need to have some type of salad. I have ground turkey in my freezer, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to buy some cucumber and bell peppers. I have cheese at home. I have tortilla chips at home, and I'm going to buy 2 avocados for that meal. And so if I were to just, if we were to pretend everything was lined up right here, then when I go to the grocery store, I just transfer everything that I need onto this list. So it makes it really fast for you to go buy things, or like I said, if you need to give this task to someone else in your household to do it, it makes it a lot easier for them as well. So in the produce, I know that I need to go get Brussels sprouts, cucumber, bell pepper, 2 avocado, carrots, and salad. I need to go buy some bread. I decided I probably wanted some marinade for the chicken, and then needed to buy 4 chicken breast, milk, Greek yogurt, berries, and then as I'm planning this kind of too, I'm like, okay, what else do I need for the house? So I wrote down I need toothpaste. And this is what I do every single week. And with that, the most important thing is that you're consistent. So whether you're not doing this at all, slowly start. Maybe you're planning out your meals. A lot of people that I find plan out their meals just like the day before. But being that 99.9% of all people I feel like in this world are just so dang busy, it's really, really, really going to set you up for success if you give yourself a week. Some people like to do it 2 weeks out. I feel like my life just changes too much where I do it every single week, but you could push it out into 2 weeks. Okay, so some tips on this. Do at the same time every week. So whatever your ritual is, maybe it's Sunday, maybe it's Monday. I think the start of the week definitely helps people set themselves up for success. Some people like to do it on Saturday too. You can allow yourself to try new foods and to make it fun, but really allow yourself to be, allow yourself to make this like so simple, especially when you're super busy. Start out by planning weeks, and then you can start to add weekends. You can start super simple. And then a lot of people forget that you can add in, like, it doesn't always have to be fresh foods. Like, you can add in frozen items like frozen burritos, frozen vegetables are like a favorite. Frozen, sometimes you can even get like frozen rice. Those are like convenience foods that can add a lot of nutrients that are really easy. And then you always want to just plan every single day, whether it's happy hour, whether it's eating out, everything like that. So here's some recipe ideas. I thought I would just give them to you in case you are interested. You don't have to get recipes from here, but I like to use Pinterest, a place called Pinch of Yum, a place, Skinny Taste is a good one, Well Plated, Rock Your Body, and Half Baked Harvest. I found that a lot of these are easy to moderate-ish recipes, and they all have a really good range of tasting good, good nutrients and things of that sort. And again, start simple. So you can do protein, a whole grain, and a veggie. So that picture that we started out class with today, or like a grilled chop, a grilled pork chop, broccoli, and quinoa. And we ended kind of with this last session, but the best diet is no diet. And so if you're taking the time to prep your meals and plan out your meals every single week, you are going to be adding in more of those nutritious foods. And so when you do go out to eat, or when you do have pizza at work and stuff like that, it's really not a big deal because you're nourishing your body with really good food most of the time. So it just makes life more enjoyable, and you have a better health because of it. So that is all that I have on the prepping and the grocery shopping, and wanted to open this up to any questions on any of this, or if you have any questions on anything that we've talked about so far, or just anything on your mind.
Doesn't look like anybody has any questions.
All right, no questions? All right, how is everybody feeling? Would you guys like to briefly talk about labels today, or do you want to save that for next time?
Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to do it? Okay. I think it's super relatable to grocery shopping. So, okay, so this is a label and kind of putting everything together that we talked about. So there's a couple different things that I understand when I'm looking at a label. I like to look at the serving size just so I know, like, so when I see that this is 130 calories, hopefully you guys can see this and it's not small, but I see it's 130 calories, but I see that there are 5 servings in this entire container. So just good to be aware of. And a serving size is 3/4 cup. I just like to notice what kind of fat's in there. Again, I like to pay attention to that saturated fat. Next, I like to look, is there protein? Right down here, 14 grams of protein. And then I like to look at added sugar, because natural sugar and added sugar are 2 completely different things. So I'm not really ever concerned about regular sugar, but there is a lot of products where there's something called added sugar, and this is basically just dumped into the product to make it sweet. So I can see right here, there are 15 grams of total sugars, and of the 15 grams, 10 of those grams per 1 serving is just sugar that's been dumped in this product to make it taste good and sweet. So kind of a red flag for me. A little tip that I like to think about is, I don't know if you guys have ever had a Krispy Kreme donut. They're like the best donuts in the world. One Krispy Kreme donut is about 12-ish grams of sugar. And if you can imagine how sweet that is, we think of that as like a high sugar food. Well, this serving of yogurt, that's only 3/4 of a cup, almost has as much sugar as a Krispy Kreme donut, just to like relate it in that sense. So it's like, oh, it's quite a bit of sugar. So I like to be mindful of that. And I just like to take a look at ingredients, and I'll show you with the next example of what I mean by that. So here's my ingredients right here. Looks pretty good to me. And the ingredients are always in the order of most to least in something. So the highest ingredient is cultured non-fat milk. That makes sense. This is yogurt. Second highest ingredient is cane sugar, which we probably already knew that because there's 10 grams of added sugar. So like to be aware of that. And then the next one that I love to relate are protein bars. And how we can briefly dissect something like this. So I have 2 protein bars, and at first glance, without looking into it, I see the one on, I'm going to call it the RX bar and the birthday cake bar. I guess I could call it pure protein, but I'm going to call it birthday cake bar. So the RX bar has 210 calories, birthday cake bar has 200. I'm looking at the protein, RX bar has 12 grams of protein, and birthday cake bar has 20. So my initial thought, without any education, is like, well, clearly the birthday cake bar is better because it has less calories and more protein. And I think that's kind of where good marketing happens too, because this label looks pretty too. So now I'm going to kind of go through the RX bar and point out some things that I see, and then I'm going to go through the birthday cake bar. So the RX bar has 220 calories. It has 7 grams of fat, 1 gram of saturated fat. So what that's telling me is most of it has some good fats in there and only 1 gram of saturated fat. It has 4 grams of fiber and it has 15 grams of sugar. But underneath it, it has 0 grams of sugar. So what I know is the sugar in this bar is natural sugar coming from the ingredients or foods in it. And then it has 12 grams of protein. And then the ingredients are a little blurry, but dates, egg whites, almonds, cashews, blueberries, natural flavors. So overall, looks pretty good. I don't see a lot of saturated fat. I don't see any added sugars. I see some fiber. I see good protein. So
No BS.
what was that?
It says no BS.
Yeah, no BS. And then the birthday cake. So 200 calories. This one has 5 grams of fat and it has 3.5 grams of saturated fat. So if I'm just comparing the two unsaturated fats, the birthday cake has more. If I'm going down by the fiber, which is under total carbs, it has 0 grams of fiber, which is fine. Protein bars don't need to have fiber by any means, but I mean, this RX bar does, so cool. No fiber. I see 3 grams of sugar, so it looks like it has less sugar than the RX bar. In theory, it does, but when I look a little bit deeper, 2 of those grams are added sugar, so it does have some added sugar, and it has sugar alcohol. So sugar alcohol is basically just like a chemical artificial sweeteners, definitely like a time and place for some of them, but really sugar alcohols can be super damaging on our body long term. It's just like filling up your car with like the wrong gas. Like our body doesn't really recognize it. It can be damaging to the gut lining and it just can have like long-term effects on your gut health and things like that. So I try to stay away from like added or sugar alcohols most of the time. Again, having every once in a while is not going to hurt you. But I don't really like what I'm seeing on this sugar level on this protein bar. And then it has great protein, 20 grams. And then I look at the ingredients, I see there's a whole list of long ingredients and totally fine on some foods that you eat to have a long list of ingredients. But like if this is, let's say, something you're eating every single day, maybe a little concerning, or you're just not fueling your body with like the best thing that you could fuel your body with. So with that being said, comparing the two, I would go for something like the RX bar versus this birthday cake. And hopefully that was like a really helpful example.
That's interesting.
Any questions on that? Okay. So yeah, I think label reading is important. You don't need to be reading the label of absolutely everything, but it's can be really helpful when you're comparing things like protein bars, granola bars, cereal, foods that you eat a lot to try to compare. Even like protein powders, I think yogurt is a really big one. That's an area where there's a lot of added sugar in yogurts. Those are like the top things that come to my mind when I think of juice and drink
Taylor,
too.
do you have a favorite Greek yogurt that you eat, a brand that has low sugar and preservatives?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to Google it. Let me Google it quick. I forget what it's called. I kind of go back and forth between a few, but there's one I know that's really popular. I feel like it starts with, there's Yoplait low sugar. That's a Greek yogurt. Um,
There's
and then
Dannon.
there's,
Okay. But it seems like they have a lot of preservatives in it too. You know, you look at some of them and like you said, the long list. If you're going to eat yogurt every day, That's why I kind of gave up on yogurt. It's like, I don't know what to eat.
There's one called, I might be murdering how to say this. Oikos. Is that how you say it? Anyone know? Correct me if I'm wrong. Oikos.
They make a triple zero, it's really low in those things, high in protein.
Yep, that one's good. I'm looking at the label right now, and I've had it before. 15 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, 5 grams of total sugar. And ingredients, it has a touch of stevia. So I think that's a good option. Even, I mean, plain yogurt's like not as good. But I think, yeah, just taking time to look on the label, like what has a bunch of added, like the added sugar. There usually isn't like a ton of sugar alcohols in yogurt. But you can definitely tell, I don't know if you've ever had like the low sugar yogurt versus like the Chobani with a ton of sugar. I mean, the Chobani tastes better, but it's the sugar.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Yoplait, low sugar, I think is what it's called, and then the Oikos is what I like, and they're easy to find. Any other questions?
When
Okay.
you meal prep, oh, Taylor,
Yeah, I'm here.
when you meal prep, do you actually like cook the foods ahead of time on the weekends and prepare for the week, or do you just do the meal planning portion of it?
Yeah, so I don't, totally optional, but I just like to have the plan for the week, and then usually I cook foods that are like pretty simple, so I'll cook like the day, I'll cook like a couple times a week. So I'll try to make like maybe like one, I don't know, like fun meal that requires a little bit more time. And then I'll usually do enough where I can have leftovers so I don't have to cook the next night. And then maybe the night after that, I'm cooking something like a little bit more simple. I just find that I like my food a little bit more fresh. But it's totally optional what you like to do. But I think half the battle too is, figuring out like what you want to have. Do you have the stuff on hand and all that stuff? So when you start to plan everything out, you have the ingredients and it's a quick process.
It's easy to eat junk when you just don't have anything planned.
Yeah, and we can't fault ourselves for that because we're tired, we're hungry, and we're like,
Right.
what? Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like you would cook ahead of time to make.
Yeah, I'll just throw pizza in, or I found my air fryer is like a lifesaver because I can cook pork chops, chicken, salmon, anything like that in my air fryer, and it's literally like 10 minutes. It's easy. First time just me.
So great. I hate cleaning it up, but it's awesome.
Yeah, same. They have liners for the air fryers? Oh, shit.
You got like 100 of them, 10 bucks.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna. Air fryers are a lifesaver.
Have any other questions? Those are good questions. Okay.
Doesn't look like it.
Well, as always,
Or do you pure protein?
feel free to, here's my email. If you do have questions after this, email me. And then if we do a couple more sessions, let us know what topics are of interest to you guys. We want this to be, I mean, this is for you and to help you out. So if anything comes to mind, please let us know.